Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular board meeting on March 19th, 2025. The regular board meeting opens at 5 p.m. for the purpose of declaring a quorum, and we will move to closed session as permitted by the Maryland Open Meetings Act, Section 3-305B. Provisions 178 of the General Provisions Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland and Section 3-103 of the General Provisions Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland for the following reasons. Citation 3-305B, Provision 1, personnel reporting to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom it has jurisdiction, or of any other personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals. Also for citation 3-305B, provisions 7 and 8, in regards to legal matters, to consult with counsel to obtain legal advice on the following legal matters, and to consult with staff, consultants, or other individuals about pending or potential litigation, which includes the following: a social media lawsuit in regards to litigation on behalf of school districts against Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, and YouTube, a lawsuit in regards to an alleged injury to a student, an OCR case, special education services, a student case, the alleged failure of TCPS to provide a free and appropriate education, and a student case involving school residential placement. Also, citation 3-305B, provisions regarding negotiations to conduct collective bargaining negotiations or consider related such matters. So I would like to have someone make a motion to move to closed session.
I move to go to closed session.
Second.
I'll second.
Great. Okay, folks, we will go ahead and close this and move to closed session, and we will see you back here at 6 p.m.
I know, I need a megaphone. There are still people in the hallway. If we could squeeze in. Opening the meeting for me. Welcome to our regular meeting of the Talbot County Board of Education. We're here at TCEC. It is March 19th, 2025, and we will all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Do I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
I make a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the minutes from our regular board meeting, February 12th, 2025?
I make a motion to approve the regular board meeting minutes from February the 12th, 2025.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, we are going to start with recognition of the public. There are a lot of you. We're really excited to see you. We're going to go first to our Waterfowl Festival presentation to the Education Foundation with Dina Kilman, Julie Sussman, I'm sorry if that's incorrect, and Mariana Lesher and Bill Keswick.
I have a check for I have a check for you for $4,500 from the Waterfowl Festival for education of our county children.
We need to do a picture in front of the screen.
Yep.
That's what we're doing.
I'm jumping right in front of Dr. Pepkai for 2 seconds to say we had 200 children that volunteered for Waterfowl 2024, and the scholarship fund is now open. So any kid that volunteered for the 10 hours, if they don't have their paperwork, call us. We'll figure it out. Each child that got the scholarship last year got $2,000 for secondary education. We gave out $24,000 last fall. So call us. We want your kids to get that money. It's an endowed scholarship. It's there in the bank. So please tell the kids and the counselors to call us. All right? Thank you.
Okay, next we have the EHS Target team with Mayor Megan Cook and Coach Joe Cap, Dr. Pepkai, and myself.
Good evening, everybody. We're here to provide you with an update on the Clay team, as promised. So we're back. We had a really good season, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. But more importantly, all of you are invited to our practices and our scoring sessions, as well as any events that we have throughout the year. We'd love you to come out and join us. And I'll be sending Emily a schedule so that you guys know when things are happening. You're also invited to come out and shoot with the kids if you'd like. Now, I realize that might be a little intimidating based on how well they did this past season. But they'll go easy on you, and you're invited anyway. I'd like to bring up Chris, who will lead us off.
Hi, my name is Chris Spurry. Cole and I are students from St. Michael's, and we're both grateful for the opportunity to try out for the Easton Clay team. Last week, one of the first things Coach told us was if we want to be part of the team, it matters what we do on and off the field. So that's why we are here today. On behalf of the team, I would like to also thank our parents for their support.
Good evening. My name's Cole Hartzell, and as Chris did, we are both grateful for the opportunity to travel for the clay team. This clay, it travels about 40 to 45 miles an hour, and we shoot at 8 different positions on the field, and we smile when it breaks. I would now like to introduce Mayor Cook to say a few words.
Good evening, board members. I'm very honored to be here tonight to give you an update on the clay team. It's been a truly wonderful opportunity to support this team throughout the season. Head coach Joe Capozzoli has graciously invited me to various events throughout the season, and I'm thankful we all should be thankful for this vision and his dedication to the team throughout the season. He's invited me to various events, and he's invited you this evening, and I've loved every moment of it, and I would encourage you to come out and watch the kids shoot. Seeing the dedication of the athletes and the incredible growth of the program has been an absolute privilege, and I deeply appreciate the opportunity to be part of it. From the start, the team set clear goals: safety, community involvement, fun, and good marksmanship. And I'm proud to say they not only met but exceeded those expectations in their very first season. Beyond competing, the team has been active in the community, providing updates at the school board meetings and participating in school events and several other community events, showcasing their support at 3 different exhibits during the Waterfowl Festival, volunteering and maintaining efforts at the Talbot Rod and Gun Club, assisting at Molly's Sporting Goods during the winter sales, and working at with the Talbot Boy Scouts to help develop clay target shooting skills. Academically, every student on the team has maintained or improved their GPA, and one member has even taken additional classes at Chesapeake College, so good for them. Tonight, we're celebrating their achievements on the skeet field. The Easton High School Clay Target team started with 11 students, competing in a conference of 39 athletes. Despite being the smallest team in the league, Easton had 5 athletes finish in the top 10, so congratulations. In the final week, they outscored the first place team and in their very first season achieved higher scores than programs that had been established for several years. Their hard work and dedication and sportsmanship are truly commendable. There are some outstanding individual performances this season, earning well-deserved recognitions from the USA Clay League in our state tournament. And I'd like to introduce these exceptional athletes as I invite Dr. Pepe Kai to join me in recognizing their achievements. First, we have Madison Wishar, a junior, placing 3rd among all female athletes in the conference. You want to say?
I just want to thank y'all for letting us have the team. It means a lot to me, and I would have never. I'm sorry. Overall, this team just means so much to me, and I just want to thank y'all so much.
Olivia Wade, a freshman, achieved 2nd place among female athletes on the conference, an incredible accomplishment in her very first year. Okay. James Heller, a sophomore, earned 2nd place in the conference with an outstanding performance. No, okay. And Austin Eder, also a sophomore, took 1st place among male athletes and claimed the highest overall score in the conference. Beyond these rankings, 3 of our athletes, Olivia, James, and Austin, achieved a perfect round this season. That means hitting 25 of those those consecutive targets without one single miss. That's an extraordinary feat. So I'd encourage you to come out and watch them as these clays are flying through the air and they hit all 25. And just this past weekend, 4 members of the team, Austin, James Heller, Carter Leonard, and Luke Foster, competed in sporting clay shoe at Pintail Point. And they took first place in the youth team, and Austin also won first place overall in the youth competition. But before we close, I want to take a moment to recognize the incredible coaches who have guided and supported this team every step of the way. Their time, effort, dedication, and love for the sport and these athletes is truly remarkable. They've not only taught the fundamentals of sportsmanship and marksmanship and safety, but have also built a team culture rooted in discipline, sportsmanship, and camaraderie. Their commitment goes far beyond practice sessions and competitions, helping them grow both as athletes and as individuals. And on behalf of the team and our entire community, we thank them for everything they do. And on behalf of the team and coaches, thank you for your support. We're proud of their first season success, and we're looking forward to an exciting and exceptional spring season ahead.
I just want to make sure you all heard Joe Cap said, we told you we'd be back. And yes, yes, they did. And here they are. We're very proud of them. Next up for recognition of the public, is Dr. Amy Palmer. And Dr. Pepukai is going to say a few words.
So we would like to congratulate Dr. Amy Palmer on the completion of her Doctorate of Education degree. We appreciate your dedication, perseverance, and commitment to advancing the field of education, and we look forward to the positive impact you will continue to make at TCPS. So congratulations. And I just have to say to Dr. Palmer, I have heavily leaned on her expertise, what she does with our ELA and a whole host of other responsibilities here since me coming to TCPS. So I just want to thank her for answering my millions of questions and just being there for our students and staff. So thank you.
Okay, next on the list, we have Coach Brian Femi, who is the 2025 NHSBCA Hall of Fame inductee.
So this is, and I'm glad they put it up here, we are congratulating Mr. Coach Brian Femi as the 2025 National High School Baseball Coaches Association Hall of Fame inductee, with our greatest appreciation for years of dedication to the students of Talbot County Public Schools from the staff and members of the board of TCPS. And I don't know where anyone can go, and I don't even know the radius, who doesn't know Coach Femi and the work that he has done. So this is well-deserved, and congratulations for this honor.
Thank you so much.
Okay, next we will be recognizing our new National Board Certified teachers. And I would just like to point out before we get there that all 3 of our finalists for Teacher of the Year are in this group. So this is an outstanding, outstanding group. And Dr. P, okay, we'll be there in just a second.
So it is a privilege to recognize an extraordinary group of educators who have recently achieved one of the highest honors in the teaching profession, National Board Certification. Earning this distinction is no small feat. The National Board Certification process is a rigorous, multi-year journey that requires teachers to demonstrate advanced instructional skills, deep content knowledge, and a strong impact on student learning. Candidates undergo an extensive self-reflection process, analyze their teaching practices, submit portfolios of student work, and complete a series of assessments to demonstrate their expertise. This process is not just about mastering best practices, it's about continually refining them to meet the diverse needs of all students. Tonight, we celebrate the teachers who have dedicated themselves to this challenging process and emerged as leaders in their profession. Their achievement is a testament to their commitment to excellence, lifelong learning, and the success of their students. So please join me in congratulating these outstanding educators as we call them up one at a time. And I will start with Letitia Blessing, or Tish Blessing. Congratulations, and you could stand right there, yep. Charlotte Compton. Even though she's not here, I still want to announce Tracy Dietrich also. Heather Ewing. James Kuntz. Is he here? Not here this evening. Angela Nessel. Rebecca Phillips. Kathleen Reagan. Melissa Schneitman. Holly Sump. Jennifer Whedon. And last but not least, Bridget Whitehead. Congratulations to you all. All right.
Okay, we're just giving everybody a minute to leave. But if anybody wants to stay and hear about cell phone pouches, we've got Mr. Stoker and Miss Kelly Murdoch, Miss Ashley Quick, and Miss Ferrer, who I don't see, here to tell us about our awesome, successful cell phone pouch pilot at Easton Middle School.
Good evening. Good evening, President Jackson, members of the Board of Ed, Dr. Pepakai, TCEC cabinet members and staff. I'm Kelly Murdoch, the proud principal of Easton Middle School, and I have two of my three amazing assistant principals here with me this evening as well, Ashley Quick and Todd Stoker. Just give them a round of applause because they work really, really hard. And I am very fortunate, I know this. Thank you for having us here tonight. We want to give you a little bit of background information about the Yonder pouches that we have at Easton Middle School, as well as some updates on the implementation and the use of the Yonder pouches. So just so that everyone kind of knows, we started this December 2nd, and I'll let Mrs. Quick demonstrate the pouch. Students come in, every student is assigned a pouch, just like a iPad and an iPad case. They come into the building. We've kind of modified our process because middle schoolers are very savvy. Our students are extremely smart. So what we did was every student will go to class. Mrs. Quick does announcements every day. They're recorded. They're sent out to all of our families, so all our families can hear it, but we also play the announcements in every homeroom class. So as part of our announcements, she gets on the announcements and says,
students and staff, it's Yonder pouch time. Please take out your Yonder pouches. Your phones and AirPods must go in your pouch. If you do not have your Yonder pouch, your phone must be turned into an admin. Large headphones must also be put away. It's in some fashion of that order.
And then cheers and shouts and glee fill the hallways.
And some mornings, if you listen, my intonation is a little more
direct,
stern, if you will. Put them in your no, not that aggressive. We're getting there.
So the students put their iPhones, their AirPods, smartwatches in there. They lock them up. They put them in their iPad cases. They go about their day. At the end of the day, we have a staggered dismissal, about 2 minutes apart, and students are dismissed. They go past one of either the mounted magnets or we have them on carts by the front door. They unlock their pouch, take their phone out, go outside, and then they all are like this. And I'm like, watch where you're going. But that's how they end their day. So that is the process. Okay.
So what do we do when a student doesn't have their phone in the pouch, which, middle schoolers are crafty. They certainly figure that out. So we kind of follow progressive discipline, and this really helped with student services kind of setting this up. Yonder, the company itself, also had a lot of suggestions. So the first time a kid has their phone turned in, or a teacher reports that they have their phone out or it's not in the Yonder pouch, it is collected, it goes to the office or to the administrator's office, and they can pick it up at the end of the day. It's recorded. We have a big spreadsheet that kind of tracks what number of offense that they're on. The second time that it happens, it still gets collected, it goes to the office, but their parent is called and they have to go and pick up the phone by the parent, so the kid can no longer get that. The third time it happens, it continues to progress. It's still a parent pickup, so the parent will have to come and pick up the phone. It does result in an office discipline referral, and the student has a day of checkmate in. So they will be in our checkmate in room. They do their classes and their studies there. Their teachers come to them for that period, for each period that they're in there. The fourth offense is still a parent pickup. They get really tired of coming and picking up the phone. So we've had some phones last over the weekend or a week or some of that. Yeah. I think we still have several that are sitting in our safe. But they would then have to turn in their phone each and every day for the quarter and remaining of the quarter. So at that point.
Can we go to the next slide?
So having the Yonder pouches has helped. We see as admin in the disciplinary world of not having to constantly have that battle with the students on their phones, not having the battle with the social media concept that comes in, with the students sending messages throughout school on their phones. And actually, we have had teachers who have really obviously been supportive of this, and they have shared some of their feedback in how they feel about using the Yonder pouches. Mr. Ed Keeler teaches 8th grade social studies, and he believes that the way to make a change about cell phone use was to implement the Yonder initiative. Cell phones become a difficult culture to break or change. The investment in Yonder did help create that culture change that was much needed for students to refocus on their education, which is huge, right? Who do we have here? Mr. Logan Kurtz, he's a 7th grade social studies teacher. He said prior to December 2nd, he was seeing a progressive increase in phone use and needed to prompt students to put them away on a daily basis in the 7 weeks since the implementation of Yonder pouches. Although I haven't needed to use it yet, the clear protocol in place in the event that a student is using their phone gives me peace of mind and confidence, knowing I won't have to manage potential confrontations with students over the cell phone use. And that's really important too, because we tell the teachers, we don't want you to have that battle. It's not for you to battle, right? You see the phone, you call the office, we will come and pick up the phone. We don't want you to stop instruction for everyone else and to interrupt that because they want to be in that power struggle. That's not their job. So that, he knows that we support them in that. And then finally, we have Mrs. Shelley Arminger. She's an 8th grade ELA teacher. And she says the Yonder pouches have been instrumental in improving student-teacher relationships, which is huge again. Teachers and students are no longer participate in constant power struggles, which I just mentioned, surrounding the cell phone policy, which took away ample amounts of instructional time and put students in a brain state which inhibited learning. Improved student-teacher relationships prompts more learning because students are able to operate in an executive state of functioning instead of being in that high anxiety ridden, I have to be on my phone, I have to see what they're saying, etc. Yep, so it's very surprising, but actually a lot of our students are like, you know what, it is kind of nice. My phone doesn't buzz all the time. I'm not digging in my pocket. I'm not trying to see why my mom's bugging me, did I eat my lunch or not? No, I'm just kidding. That's not what they're doing.
Sometimes we do have parents who text.
No, we do. So here you have a couple different quotes from a few of our students. One of our 7th graders, Abby, said the Yonder pouches helped a lot with my grades coming up. They're focused on their education and not so much of the social media aspect, which is truly what's holding them down. Madeline says, I think that the Yonder pouches are a great new invention that the school base has set up. I've personally seen kids who used to be on their phones quite often in class not be on them at all, and even excel in their academics. I believe the pouches have changed a lot of kids for the better. Some kids weren't affected by them at all, like me, who never used them phones in the first place. And then, oh, hey, how you doing, friend? That's okay. And then, of course, Ms. Murdoch also.
So the things that we've seen, there's a positive impact on safety and wellness. We've seen a positive change in student engagement within the classrooms and during instruction. Ultimately, we hope to see improvement with academic performance as well. And when we were analyzing some of our discipline data, we really noted that the number of, we had 14, as of today, 14 discipline referrals that were for electronic offenses, and the bulk of those were referrals that we as administration had written because of infractions due to not having their phones away. So we've really seen a decrease in students texting each other, making threatening comments, those kinds of pieces. It's not happening within the school. Now, the next step would be great to not have it happen outside of school, because those things we can't control and they do spill in to school, but they're not on their phones during the school day, and we notice the difference. So it's a real positive. Are there any questions?
I had a question. Someone had said that it was easy to buy a magnet off of Amazon to open it. Are you finding that's the case?
We have not found that. When we meet with the Yonder representatives pretty frequently, we give them feedback and kind of tell them what we're seeing and that sort of thing. There are magnets strong enough that you can buy. However, we have been very upfront with the students and families that if you use the wrong magnet, it could potentially damage your phone. So this is a specialized magnet.
You'll notice, so it's kind of encased in a protective layer, so it's really directional, and it only works when it's properly put on there. So if they have a strong enough magnet, more chances are likely that they're gonna catch their phone screen and ruin their own phone, so that's on that.
Yep. Any other questions?
You've seen a general, I know you mentioned social, but I would say specifically you've seen a general decrease in bullying because of this, I would hope.
Absolutely. Definitely a decrease in any kind of cyberbullying. And, you know, we don't have as much bullying as what people typically think of as middle school. Middle school gets a really bad reputation. It's like, oh, you know, that's a terrible place, and there's so much bullying. There's really not. When we find it, bullying, there has to be that power differential between the parties involved. What we see is a huge issue with conflict and the inability of students to be able to have conversation, to parse out, and to solve that conflict. So we do many, many things at the middle school to try to teach those conflict resolution skills. We have Positivity Project, we have a house system, we do conscious discipline. There's a lot of pieces, restorative practices, a lot of pieces that go into play with those kinds of skill building. Sure.
And it's really hard for the students too because they do use the screens, right, as their avenue to speak to someone. And so with them not being there, we are forcing this generation to have face-to-face conversations. I have a conflict with you. I need to voice that I don't like something that's happening versus going behind and hiding behind a screen and being nasty, because that's not how you're going to present yourself. From what we have found, when we pull you in and we sit you down and we give you that avenue to have those conversations, and we're teaching you and guiding you how to have respectful conversations and learn that it's okay, you don't have to like everybody, but you have to respect humans. And in order to do that, the face-to-face interactions is huge, especially for the developmental age of their brains where they are. So that's what I'm really seeing as far as when we bring our students together to resolve those conflicts, like face to face.
And a lot of times what we're doing, one of the practices we have is a restorative conversations. And so that is really trying to teach students, look, here's what's happened. This is a conflict. I think everybody kind of uses and tosses it around, this is going on, this is bullying. But no, it's just a conflict. You can't agree on something. But when you sit down and you're face to face, that conversation's very different than when you're behind your screen. And what we see a lot of times on social media is students going and getting, kind of like the old days, well, I'm going to go get my older brother on you. And they just go and they start throwing in all kinds of friends and high schoolers into these chats, and everything gets said. But then we realize, too, of how just off that goes, and that's not the reality of how people truly feel. And when you get them face to face, they often find, like, I don't actually really have that big of a problem with you, or it wasn't really that big of a conflict, and we need to move on. And so that's been a healthy thing too, of learning, look, you cannot solve those problems with a screen.
I'd like to say thank you for being our guinea pigs. We really appreciate it. We know this was a big lift for everybody involved, so thank you very much for being willing to try this out. And I apologize for putting you on the spot like this, but having been the guinea pig this year, do you have any recommendations about where we should go next? This was a pilot, as we all know, so we were trying this out. Do you think it would be best to be kept at Easton Middle School? Do you think that it should be expanded to St. Michael's Middle School? Do you think we should look at expanding up, down, sideways, around, teachers? What do you think should happen next?
So we would love to continue to have it at Easton Middle. Consistency is key, as you know. What you start, you enforce, you're consistent with, and then you see progress. If you give in-betweens, it all falls apart. I'm not going to speak on where it should go next. I think if we are finding positive benefits, then that's something to consider.
All I would add is I think it's reasonable to look at the research and where our cell phones causing the most destruction when it comes to anxiety, when it comes to depression. And those are definitely, you know, from the time that that phone gets into a kid's hands. But truthfully, we're talking predominantly upper elementary through high school. And that's where you really see, once that phone and social media gets into their hand, you see a steep decline in mental health. You see the depression and anxiety ramping up. And so, I mean, that's just what research is presenting to us. And we've certainly seen a positive impact, at least on our end, with, you know, students of that age.
Absolutely. The other thing I would add, circling back to the bullying, is we do have a very structured protocol for bullying, and we follow that with investigations and bullying forms and reports and all kinds of things. So I don't want it to sound like we don't follow that.
Any more questions for Easton Middle School about cell phones? Okay, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you very much. You guys.
All right, next up, we have public comment. Yes, we are there. Do we have, I know we have at least one person signed up for public comment. Is there more than one? Okay. Hold please while I read our guidelines. In order to maintain an orderly presentation of comments by the public, the following guidelines will apply. Comments are limited to 3 minutes or less and are to be directed to board members from the podium. Please speak into the microphone. When the allotted time expires, the speaker will be permitted to complete their sentence and then return to the audience. If unable to complete comments in the allotted time, individuals are asked to submit remarks to the board in writing. Signs or posters may not be displayed at board meetings. Handouts may be left for board members at the podium. Public statements made at board meetings should relate to agenda items for the current meeting, a recent or future meeting, or a matter of general policy over which the board has authority. Personnel matters, matters relating to individual students, pending appeals, the actions or statements of individual staff members, or items related to employee negotiations are not appropriate topics for citizen participation. Board members will not answer questions during citizen participation. Questions should be submitted in writing to the board. Responses will be provided in a timely manner. The board and/or superintendent reserves the right to correct misinformation presented during citizen participation. The board reserves the right to limit the number of speakers on a particular topic so that multiple topics may be addressed. The audience is asked to be respectful of public speakers and board members. Failure to comply may necessitate removal from the public meeting. Thank you for respecting these guidelines. That's it. And on our list tonight is Christina Drostin, and take it away. Okay, you can go ahead.
Okay. Good evening. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you all being here and having been here for hours already to do your important work today. I'd like to comment on recent remarks made at the school board meeting last month about school uniforms. Regarding equity, although I appreciate efforts towards that cause, I don't think requiring uniforms will do that. Instead, TCPS would need to assist many, many families who cannot afford them, using limited funds, which our district is already working to spread thin over much-needed programs. It is one thing to debate whether or not uniforms will help with equity in our school system. However, I am shocked by one of our board members' rationale for requiring uniforms because girls' clothing can be a distraction to the boys. What kind of message does this send to our boys? That they are only responsible for their actions to a certain point? If they're too distracted by how someone dresses in accordance with our dress code policy, that they can't handle learning? Our current dress code has a number of restrictions that allow for our students to show up to school to learn. It already requires that certain body parts be covered. Before we mandate uniforms for students, it sounds like we need to review with all of our kids how to respect each other's bodies and treat one another with dignity. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else in the audience tonight who would like to make public comment? Going once, going twice? No? Okay, moving right along with our student board members. We are starting with Bryn. Take it away.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. So this is the monthly report for end of February and first chunk-ish of March. So we'll talk about sports, field trips, the school musical, other school activities, and then some thank yous to some people. So first, spring sports have started. I myself participate in them. So we have baseball this past weekend. To start off the baseball season, we always host at St. Michael's. It's sort of like tournament play day. We had Steve Decatur and Patuxent, I believe, and we won against Patuxent. I don't believe it went so well against Steve Decatur, but that's okay. And then our tennis team has also a few scrimmages. I myself am on this tennis team. That's one of my best friends up there, and it's been great. The weather has been amazing. It's truly warming up, and we have our first official match this Friday against North Dorchester. And then softball also has their first game this Friday. They had a couple scrimmages. I believe they played, I want to say Y High last week in a scrimmage. So then we've had 2 field trips, and we have one tomorrow for environmental science. But what we had was our amazing Miss Greer, I love her, our biomedical science teacher, Miss Greer, took the biomed class to University of Maryland Eastern Shore to visit their school of physical therapy. And then our 6th grade attended junior achievement on the Eastern Shore for BizTown, which is basically like, I'm not exactly sure the type of building that it's in, but it's like a bunch of little like places, and you can go and be part of government or go to the bank, and they learn life skills that they may not be taught in school. Next, we have our school musical. We put on Snow White and the Prince, and it was a really enjoyable time. It was fun to do for my senior year, and I really enjoyed it. Next, some activities we have going on. All St. Michael's 7th graders participated in History Day projects, where I believe they were put with a partner, and they got to present with like a trifold board, and parents came and friends came, and some students came and like voted on their favorite project, and it was really fun. And then we also had Read Across St. Michael's, where middle school and high school students were allowed to then go into the elementary school and read books with them, and that was also really enjoyable. And another thing we have coming up, just an activity, we have National Art, National Honor, and then National Technical Honor Society, all inductions this Friday. We will be holding a ceremony. And then just special thanks to Sodexo. Our cafeteria lines have recently been updated, which they haven't been in a while, and I think they look really good. They're so cute in St. Michael's-y. And then it was National School Social Work Week, so we want to thank Ms. Dawn Wirtz. She is our school social worker, and she's such a great addition to our school, and we really love her. And that is a wrap for this month.
Thank you, Bryn. Next up is Gabriella.
Hi, everyone. So this is Easton High School's board update. First, just want to highlight the NJROTC. They're super active in Easton High School, honestly, throughout all the year. They'll present sometimes before football games or before other sporting events. Sometimes National Honor Society inductions or whatnot. So they're always there for us. And so this time they got to celebrate their leadership and just their successful year that they've had. So each year there's an NJROTC ball, and they hold it at the Easton Elks Lodge. So this picture right here is a picture of all of them. They get to dress up and dance, and they just have a really fun time. And then we also hosted a drill meet with neighboring counties, which I think is really cool that Easton gets to host that, and so that's a picture of them over there. Okay, and then talking about sports, 2 students, Samantha Murphy and Darrell Lee, were selected for the Cliff Mr. Senior All-Star Games, which took place on March 18th at Chesapeake College. And so these are just 2 athletes that stand out maybe to their coaches or to their teammates, and so that's a picture of Sam up there. And then our spring sports have officially started. Almost every team has had at least a scrimmage by now. And this is a picture of a few of my best friends. They play girls lacrosse, and it's right right now they're undefeated, but they had play day on March 15th, and I believe they played 5 or 6 games and won every single one. So we're hoping for a really successful season this year. And then the boys and girls lacrosse teams hosted a clinic. So for younger players involved in lacrosse, or if they've never tried, they got to have the opportunity for free to just come out and play with the older kids. And so they had a lot of fun, and that's a picture of them over there. Okay, and then staff spotlights. So before I talk about these four, I just want to say that Easton has some of the best staff. I know touring colleges right now, I'm being exposed to other types of professors and teachers, and it's really grown my appreciation to have such incredible staff at Easton. I really think that they make all of the students' time so much better. So just a few special shout outs, I guess. I'm going to say this wrong, Mr. Laffin, he's new and he has helped a lot of students this year be able to find internships. I know personally I have had an internship at the Easton Emergency Department, and then I also am in an internship right now at the OBGYN office. And so it's been super helpful just to be able to have him as a resource, and students I know for sure have used him to their benefit. Also, Mr. Marvin Brown, he is a custodian at our school, but I truly don't think any of us see him that way. He is just such a light. He's so fun. Anytime anybody sees him, he'll be sure to give you a high five, or he's always there, and I just think that the kids really love him. And then Miss Rose, who is actually a Teacher of the Year finalist. She is the music teacher and band director, but previously she was AP Environmental Science teacher, and she was my teacher for that. And she's just incredible. She opens the door to literally anybody, and I just love her. She's awesome. And then also Mr. Gibson, he was recognized as the Applebee's Support Staff Award winner, and he is also great and just always welcoming, and the energy that he has around him is just always happy and wonderful. Okay, now to talk about clubs and events. The math club is always very active in our school, and since it was Pi Day on 3.14, they had a meeting where you got to just eat pie. And then the Warrior Band hosted a mattress sale as a fundraiser. I'm hoping it went well, I don't know, but it looks like it was set up pretty cool. And then the Latin National Honor Society held their inductions this past month. That's a picture of them. Also, National Technical Honor Society had their inductions last week, and National Honor Society's inductions are coming up. And then just a quick shout out to the National Honor Society. I hold this dear to my heart. So we have been really involved this year with our community, and we're really working on improving our involvement. And so we've worked with Operation Christmas Child, Adopt a Family, Talbot Interfaith Shelter, for All Seasons. And so we did just put on an event, the first annual talent show fundraiser event, and this was in partnership with Kent Island High School, Easton High School, National Honor Society, and then For All Seasons. And so together the three of us teamed up, and we put on honestly, I would say very successful talent show. We had over 300 attendees. We raised over $1,500 for All Seasons. So for the first ever event, I would say that's pretty successful. We had many different sponsors, so Chick-fil-A of Easton, Pliables, Gander's Car Wash, Easton Bowling, Easton Movies, and a lot of other businesses supported us in being able to put on this event. And so this is a picture here of one of our groups. They actually got second place in the talent show. They did come from Easton. And then that's a picture over there. I know it's kind of blurry, but I just think that was like a wow moment for me, that we had worked so hard, and just seeing everyone in the audience so engaged, and hearing that it was just such a success was really rewarding. So I would say that it was a great turnout, and hopefully Easton can host it next year. And yeah, so that's all for this month.
Thank you so much, Gabriella. Always fun to hear what's happening at school, everybody. Next up, we have board committee reports. Does any board member have a report from their committees this month?
The Educational Equity Committee convened on March 18, 2025 to review and provide recommendations for revising Policy Code 1.6 Educational Equity. The committee discussed aligning the policy with COMAR requirements, Title 13A, Subtitle 01, Chapter 6 of the State Board of Education Regulations. Additionally, the committee made recommendations of the creation of an AR to ensure compliance and effective implementation. The TCPS strategic plan draft was also reviewed for awareness. Next steps, the committee's recommended policy revisions will be submitted to the policy committee for further consideration before being forwarded to the board for approval following the standard procedural timeline. Respectfully submitted, Daishika Strawberry.
That was awesome. Thank you very much. Does anybody else have a committee report? Okay. Moving along to new business, the first item on our list is a textbook adoption request about Teacher Academy with Dr. Einhorn.
Good evening, President Jackson and members of the board. This item this evening is for your information only. Per our policy, we have placed out for public review both here at the board office, you may have seen it in the lobby when you came in, and also at the public library, the text Effective Teaching Methods, Research-Based Practice, 10th edition. The text would replace the current one we have for our Foundations of Curriculum and Instruction course. That's the third course our students take in the Teacher Academy of Maryland program, which is one of our career and technical education programs that students can participate in. During the 23-24 school year, Towson University, who works with the state of Maryland on the Teacher Academy of Maryland, updated the curriculum, and they are recommending this textbook for use in the third course. We knew that the update to the curriculum and then possibly a textbook update would be needed, so we did request a new textbook for this course as part of our fiscal year 25 budget. So it is in our budget to purchase a new text for this course. The book will be out for public review, and I encourage people to take a look at it. And next month, I will come before you with any feedback that I receive regarding the textbook, and then go through our process of asking for your adoption.
Any questions for Dr. Einhorn at this time?
This is a book and not one that's online.
So currently, when we adopt a text, it usually comes in hard copy traditionally, but there's usually an online component as well. That's pretty standard these days, but yes, this is a hard copy text that will be available to students.
What was the book, what book is this replacing?
It is replacing a similar text about teaching practices. The third course focuses on pedagogy and how to effectively instruct in the classroom. I don't have the title of the text, but I can certainly have that for you next month. The update really reflects changes in teaching practices that align with science of reading, how to engage students more, how to focus on discourse. So it will help prepare our students in our TAM program to hopefully come back and be effective educators in our school system.
Any other questions this evening? Okay, thank you, Dr. Einhorn. Next up is Mr. Wilson, who's going to speak to us about technology contracts, and I believe there are 4 of them.
Good evening, members of the board. Tonight, we bring to you every spring a list of our contracts that we need to renew or infrastructure that needs to be replaced. Our infrastructure is replaced on a 5-year cycle. All this has been put into the budget. We evaluate, there are a lot of products in these spaces. We write the specifications, we make product recommendations that go into the RFP. We do leave the RFP open to other products if they are proposed, and we will evaluate those as well, and if they met the criteria of the RFP. So the first one tonight is the firewall. Every 5 years, we replace the routers, firewalls in each of our buildings. So routers are devices that connect networks to networks, and firewalls filter out the information that goes to and from the buildings. So every 5 years, it just about touches all of our buildings, I think, except for the border router, which we did last year. So, of all the bids that came in, they were all the one that we had recommended was the Sonic Wall. And the same company that won last year, this PC2 for You Incorporated out of Texas, came in with the lowest bid. And this is the one that we're recommending for purchase for next year. We will not make any purchases until the budget is final. Contracts don't take place until July 1. Okay, and that's true for all of the proposals that we're putting forward. And I need a vote, if you would please, on whether accepting this or not.
I have a question first. The replacing it every 5 years, is that in policy or is that just in practice?
That's in practice. Most of our contracts run out after 5 years. Also, with the age of the equipment, oftentimes we might find it difficult to get replacements because models do change from year to year. And also we get downloads of patches and upgrades to those devices. So we're concerned if we postpone, let's say, this for one more year, we'd still have to buy a contract for support, but then it's going to piggyback on the next year's request, which will include switches and switches for and access points for the Easton High School, which is going to be a big purchase. So we didn't want to, if we push it down the road, it's just going to increase what we're going to be asking for next year.
Do you find that our ask every year is about the same amount? I know that we're asking for different things on different cycles. Do we come in approximately?
We try and keep it around the 300 to 350 price range for all the contracts. One of these contracts is the 5-year contract, which doesn't really apply. But infrastructure-wise, I think we try to keep it within that a dollar amount. So we're not asking for this year. All 3 of these infrastructures come in around 300,000. So we're trying to stay within that area.
I don't mean to pick on technology, and my husband would probably kill me for even digging in this area, but we're in a budget crunch.
Sure.
And these are large numbers that we were talking about eventually spending should our budget be approved, and we're all looking for areas where we could find some savings. So I'm just wondering if there is any potential wiggle room here for whether these things could be done next year, or if could we get a little more longevity out of anything that we're talking about. And I'm hearing what you're saying, that if we kick the can down the road, it just makes for a larger purchase.
Sure.
Next year.
We are in the process of making some recommendations for budget adjustments in the technology area. A lot of them are centered around the devices that the students have, keeping them another year. That seems to be the area I think we have the most wiggle room when it comes to, and I've got that document prepared for Dr. Pepperkai and for Sarah, and for Dr. Einhorn. So I know that they haven't seen it yet, but I know it's coming up in a future meeting.
That's great to know. Sorry, I don't mean to hog the mic. I'm wondering if we could talk about all of the contracts and then vote on them. Could we hear about them as a
Sure.
whole and then go back and vote on them individually? Is that
Absolutely.
okay?
Okay. So the next one is the data switches. It's been 5 years since we completed Easton Elementary School, and their equipment is coming up for replacement. So to replace all the switches in the 5 closets that we have, it's going to come to $105,000 through CDWG. They have often been our successful low bidder in years past. So we're making that recommendation for that building. And then the wireless access points. Okay, in this case, we had, again, we also open up we offer other vendors to participate, though we carefully evaluate what we are asking for through a variety of means. Our recommendation was to go with the Juniper Mist. This is what we've been using in other buildings to handle the capacity of each of the classrooms in all the areas in which we have coverage. A company has come in and has put in for a low bid, but it did not meet the specifications outlined in the RFP. CDWG, again, is our low bidder for replacing the access points. There's over 100 access points alone in Easton Elementary. This comes up every 5 years. This is the fiber optic cable that connects all of our buildings. It is leased to us by Easton Utilities. This has been the same price for the last 3 cycles. So this is for 15 years. They have kept this price of $1.2 million, but that's spread over 5 years. So it's about $21,000 per month that we pay to rent the fiber that connects all of our buildings together with internet. The fiber is set for private. There is nobody else. There's no other traffic on that fiber except for our schools. So it makes it secure. Another company. This is the first time another company has come in from the D.C. area and has made a similar proposal. We're not sure what's behind it, but we knew it was more. But they may be trying to lease on top of Eastern Utilities because nobody else has infrastructure going to our schools at this present time. So this one's sort of set apart because it's not infrastructure. This is it is part of infrastructure, but it's what we need to use to run our internet. There's kind of no negotiation on this. Okay, I think that's all of them.
Does anybody have questions for Mr. Wilson about the technology? I would like to make a motion that we accept the bids as presented for the technology contracts as presented this evening, pending approval of our budget as presented, and understanding that we may revisit specific contracts and the purchase of them if it is not.
Okay.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to unfinished business with the uniform survey and discussion. Dr. Pepukai is going to share the survey results with us.
So just to refamiliarize everyone, the topic that came up last month was the topic of uniforms. So what we did was we surveyed our community, our schools, parents, students, to see what was the appetite out there for school uniforms. So we did receive an overwhelming large response back from many areas, and you could see there who the different respondents were. And then I'll just go through the different results that came back from the survey. So these are the responses by grade level, the different colors: elementary school, where the students attend, whether they attend elementary school, middle school, or high school. And then collectively, responses to the question of just uniforms: would you like to see TCPS require uniforms for students? And you could see 44.7, so 45% said yes, about 49 said no, and then you have no opinion there in the very light blue. So close results there, but yes or no. And then in favor of the why. So you could see the different colors, a little harder to read, but affordability, positive behavior, improvement of learning environment, peer pressure, reduction, improving school pride, reduce conflict, and eliminate dress code enforcement challenges. So you could see the different percentages and the color codes that were matched to that. And then if you were against it, why again? And so there are a myriad of reasons: more costly, stifle self-expression, it would not impact the learning environment, reducing peer pressure, but it would not. So just a lot of things were on the it would, it's just reverse for if you were against it. So then broken down by school level. So in elementary schools, the respondents, with a lot of entries of 49.12 saying yes to uniforms for elementary school, no with about 41%, and then again, no opinion there for the light blue. Middle school, you had about 49% with yes, you had 42% no, and then again, the 9% for no opinion. In high school, you have 44% for yes, about 48% no, and then 8%, roughly 8% with no. So you could see going back for middle and elementary, it was more percentage higher for the yes than for your high school. And then collectively in all TCPS schools, again, about 45% with yes, and then 48% no, and then the small with no opinion. In addition to this, there were comments, of course, that were given for people to give their opinions, to expound more on their reasoning. And then also, we internally discussed the cost factor. And so I'll just stop there because I just wanted to share the survey results, but then open it up to the board for any comments, questions, or your thoughts, because costs, even going out in the buildings and talking, of course, that was a topic of discussion when this first went out. And that was the topic that was attached to the uniforms, was cost. And I think you have packets of examples in your packet. We kind of just looked at prices, how much would a uniform cost, tops, bottoms, who would pay for families that could not afford. So we had a lot of discussion internally about that, of the cost factor associated with that. So I will stop there.
Out of all the student population that we have, what is the population, what's the percent that responded? Do you understand what I'm, yeah? What I'm saying is if.
Broken down, you're saying? So just,
No.
there was a total.
So how
but
many, out of all the students that we have in the school, what's the percent that? Trouble.
So it looks like out of who responded, it looks like students are the light blue, 151 students.
No, I think she's asking, out of 4,000
yeah.
and something students, families, 3%?
Okay.
Wait. That doesn't make sense.
Okay.
Do you just want to know how many students responded or how many responses there were?
Responses.
So there was, I can't add that. What's the total number? Yeah. 1,413 parents responded, but there's no
Yeah.
knowing if
Yeah.
2 parents in a household responded or 1, so it's hard to break that down. I think, and don't quote me on this, but based on other surveys that we've done, this one seems to have gotten a lot of responses. About 1,900 total? Okay. And I think the last time we surveyed people, we didn't get 1,900 responses. Right?
I mean, as far as cost goes, I know we could have a shop. This would have to be after a year of like hand-me-downs, and people could go to that shop, like in the school, and get what they need. Like, people that are graduating or they're too small, they put them in, and it can kind of be a swap. Now, for first year, that wouldn't work. But I know Little Rascals has clothes, like the khakis and the navy shirt. In here in Walmart, it's not looked like an exorbitant expense. I know, so.
If you have a family, that it's only making minimum wage, it's a significant expense. And you have a significant portion of our student population that is on free and reduced meals. And with that being said, that means they're low-income families, and to add any additional costs that they're expected to pay out of pocket does not seem very fair to me.
From the denominator of about 1,900 responses, there's not an overwhelming response either way, in my opinion, to change an entire process. that will affect costs with the board as well as families. Secondly, when I look at the slide that talks about the reasons for yes, so I would like to know if there's any data to support any of the references, the inferences there that says it would reduce peer pressure. Is there any data that says that it would eliminate dress code enforcement challenges? You know, where is the data that supports that this is a significant problem? Is there any data to support that dress code is a significant problem as far as student and parent conflict?
None that we've collected. Yeah.
I think the data would be how they responded. I mean, in these particular cases.
The data is not tangible evidence or evidence-based research that could prove this.
I think Ms. Strawberry's point of not having a really clear response here, it's kind of run down the middle. I don't see an overwhelming need to make a major change in policy and procedure, combined with the fact that, again, we are in a challenging budget year, and this would be an expensive undertaking should we go forward with it. I don't, it just doesn't, those two factors combined leave me not compelled to do anything in this regard. It's nice to know. I had no idea, but I don't see an overwhelming need to do anything. Would anybody like to make a motion in favor or against instituting uniforms right now?
Well, I'd like to make a motion for the uniforms. I mean, there was more than half for the elementary and middle school that voted yes. I mean, I know it's not the entire population.
Does anybody second? She needs a second. Does anybody second? Okay. There is no second. The motion does not carry. The discussion is over for now. It does not mean that we can't bring it up again at a later date. Okay. Moving along. To our personnel report with Dr. Horsey.
Good evening. I would like to ask the board to approve the personnel report that was discussed in closed session.
I would like to make a motion that we approve the personnel report as discussed in closed session.
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Next, we have our monthly budget report with Mrs. Jones.
Good evening, members of the board. Tonight, I'm bringing to you the financial results of our actual operations compared to budget for the 8 months ended February 28th, 2025. We are 2/3 of the way through the school year. We are on track. This says January. Well, sorry. Let me get back to you.
Mrs. Jones, would you like us to move ahead to the superintendent's report and come back to you? Okay. Superintendent's report with Dr. Pepukai.
So I will start off with, I put opposition, but I think it's up for discussion. House Bill 161, which was a different number last year, but this is the health framework that currently has moved on to the third reader right now in legislation. Last year, just for our new board members, the board collectively wrote an opposition letter to our senators and representatives against this. And so I just put it in here again because we're back here again for another legislative season where a bill is moving, and just wanted to bring it up to put it out there to find out what the board's pleasure in repeating that.
I would like to ask a question of our attorney about this. and I hope that you can answer. We have been told, and we were under the impression when we wrote our letter opposing this last year, that this bill takes local control of curriculum and moves it to more state-controlled for this particular content area, but sets a precedent moving forward for more state control and less local control, which is why we opposed it. I have heard in this legislative session that actually this bill says the opposite, and it is pushing for more local control. Can you clarify what actually the intent of this bill is? Can we pause our discussion on this until we have clarification from our attorney about what exactly we would be opposing? Are we amenable to that, to coming back to this?
My recollection of this is that Delegate Atterbury from Howard County, that Delegate Atterbury from Howard County wants to eliminate the ability of the local board to allow for the opt-outs. That's my understanding.
Is it in the bill, though, or is it just spoken to?
That's what I heard the testimony was.
Okay. I think it is important as to whether it is technically in the bill or whether it's just part of the testimony. Intent matters, and intent in writing matters. So I would like to propose to my board that we pause this conversation until next month when we have let our attorney review and we can have more clarification about
It'll be
this.
too late. It's already gone through the Senate.
Either way, if it's legislative or local, could.
Okay, can we pause this discussion until at the end of Dr. P's presentation to give a minute to advise us? I would like a clarification.
All right, so we will move on. Summer Career Enrichment Program, you've heard of this in past years. It started off in Dorchester. It was in Caroline last summer. It's now coming to Talbot this summer. And so the dates are there. The registration is open, and we'll have a button on our website for families to be able to register. There is a video link that we'll also put on the website for you to view, but I just wanted to highlight this program, that it's hands-on activities, and you could see some of the topics that students have an opportunity to do: cybersecurity, drones, media arts, presentation, graphic design. So just wanted to highlight that. The ACE Mentor Awards took place. Architecture, ACE standing for Architecture, Construction, and Engineering, took place at St. Peter and Paul. Easton High School did win with their project, and Mr. Warner was highlighted and received the Community Award, who is the PLTW engineering teacher at Easton High School. So really great projects that were presented that evening. So it was a really nice event. We are still moving forward with our community listening sessions. We will be at White Marsh on Monday, and then Chapel coming up in April. So please come out with questions, validations of the great things that we're doing here in the district. Nice turnout there at Easton Middle School that we had, and want to thank everyone for coming out and sharing your feedback. We hadn't been, I looked at the calendar and I was like, oh, you know, the board meeting was early in February. And so I was out at Chapel for Black History Month and read a story to the students and did an activity with them where we had notable African-American persons and what they did, and they then mirrored things that they are really good at and what they can do themselves. So it was at 2 classes there. And then you saw a couple of them here this evening, but here are all of our Teacher of the Year finalists and our Support Staff of the Year finalists as we are making our way toward the big evening Talbot Stars event that will take place. So we can eagerly await who will be our next winner of Teacher of the Year and Support Staff of the Year. And then we have some upcoming events. Of course, Sister Act, I know I'm looking at the whole blank page there, but Sister Act is starting up on Friday. We have World Down Syndrome Day and a host of other events that are taking place.
That's a nice change. Gives you a little more control. And parents can opt out of education relating to HIV and AIDS prevention. And a parent can opt out of their child being involved in the family life and human sexuality topic in each grade in which the topic is taught. So
Only that one though, right? Only that particular section, correct? The family life, they can opt out? Can't opt out of any of the others.
sexuality topic, which is one of these several topics, which include health promotion, mental and emotional health, substance abuse prevention, family life and human sexuality, gender identity and sexual orientation, safety and violence prevention, safe and appropriate social media and internet use, healthy eating, and disease prevention and control. So it is more limiting for parents as far as the opting out.
I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty of the specifics and how individual board members feel about the specifics in this, because I think that's less important. And then talking about the local control piece, because if local control is taken away, then it doesn't even matter. We can't even have that discussion. So I would stand in our opposition to this if it becomes more limiting to us as a district, and that's what this is moving to. I would say sticking with saying, hey, we know as a local education authority what's best for our students here in Talbot County, and that control should remain here with us. That's where I fall in this.
I have a real problem with this bill. I watched the people that were putting it out. And the gentleman was a gay gentleman. That's the other part of Miss Atterbury's. And he said, we got to get them while they're young. And that made my blood boil. I'm totally against them taking our control away and taking the parental control away. It is wrong.
Okay. Does anybody else want to speak on this right now?
I just want to make sure I clarify. So prior to this bill, so currently, the local board has more control than this particular bill will allow us to have. Is that what I'm hearing?
I think so.
Okay.
It's very hazy. There's been so much controversy over the state health curriculum that was imposed on the local boards. I don't think it was ever fully thought out. Based on what I've heard from around the state, I talked to a lot of student service directors. It was rather interesting the way it came about.
So what exactly is our option to vote?
Well, we don't have an option. We don't discuss this. This is way past our pay grade. What we can do is what we did last year, which was send a letter in opposition to this bill stating, we're, I don't remember exactly what it said, and I wrote it, but stating something along the lines of we're in favor of local control, and as a board, we feel this way. Is that what the letter said? I don't even remember.
No, I have a copy, and it was basically us having autonomy, and I have the draft from last year that I'll be able to share.
Okay, so what we can do is vote as a board to send that letter again, essentially, and we can take a stand. That's pretty much it. Correct, and request that they vote appropriately.
So I move that we send a letter to our delegates in favor of maintaining our autonomy with this subject matter.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, unanimous. Thank you very much. Mrs. Jones, are you ready for us? Okay.
you. Thank you for your patience. This is just mistitled. This does represent information for the 8 months ended February 28th. Board members have behind this in their online available attached to your agenda, the supporting pages. Those are correctly titled with February 28th at the top. So really what I have to report is that we are 2/3 of the way through the school year. Our revenues are on track. Within all of our budget categories, we are projecting to be on track. We are projecting some surplus, mainly in the instructional salary category. Within a few of the categories, we have individual line items. We are projecting to be slightly over budget. Administration, mid-level administration, and special education, each of them, their salaries are projected to be $30,000 to $40,000 in that ballpark over budget due to some shifts in staffing. But within each of those categories, there are projected savings in other line items so that we are fine and balanced within those categories. The only category at this point in time where it might make sense at our next board meeting to make a budget transfer request is within operation of plant. We have an overspend in the equipment category of roughly $49,000, and that has to do with equipment we purchased for maintenance of fields that we talked about in upgrading our fields. And it's actually not in maintenance of plant, it's in operations. So we're expecting to be, we're currently about $36,000, $37,000 over budget, and we probably have a few more things coming in. So that might be an item for next month that we would want to go ahead and request a transfer of. But other than that, I would say any potential, there are no category transfers we require at this time.
Any questions for Mrs. Jones? Okay, thank you very much. We're going to move on to board member remarks. I will switch it up and start with Ms. Whelan-Cherry tonight.
Thank you all, and congratulations. I know they've all left, but congratulations to everyone who was recognized tonight.
Ms. Jarius?
All right, yes, thank you. Thank you for all the wonderful things we got to hear about tonight, the CLAY team, the National Board Certified Teachers, how well the pilot project is working with our Yonder pouches. Thank you to our student board members for your excellent presentations. It's always very heartwarming to hear what's happening in our schools. And thank you to everyone else who has provided us with this information and reports here tonight.
Ms. Strawberry?
I would also like to say congratulations to all those that were recognized on tonight, as well as a huge thank you to the Waterfowl Festival and what they've done to support education and all of our students. I was able to attend the event, the Snow White event with Bryn, so she did a fantastic job, and thank you both for your reports that you've given and everything that you do out in the community and at the school to make sure that the school is well represented in our meetings here. And I also want to say to the public, thank you for coming out. Thank you for expressing all that you express to let us know what's happening in your fields. And to all of you who prepare presentations for us, and we pretty much see a lot of the same people every month. And I know that's a lot, especially when you're trying to do your day-to-day jobs as well. So thank you.
Bryn?
Well, I know everyone said, you know, congratulations to all the teachers, but I just wanted to say that, like, you know, being in this school, so like going to school every day and seeing teachers and how much work alone they're just putting into like regular class days, and then to take that on top of it. I have a couple teachers that like completed it, and they were like just shared a little bit of like how much they had to do, and it's just so impressive. So it's a really great accomplishment. And then also on like the new phone Yonder pouches. Thank you. I'm not, if it ever does get implemented in high school, I'm not going to be there for that, but I would say that I would actually be glad. Like, I think at first it would be an adjustment, but like, there's so much stuff, you just like reach for your phone and you don't even know it. So I think that it's actually something really good that's being implemented, especially just seeing it day to day.
Thank you. Gabriella?
So Bryn and I, we had the same idea. I was going to talk about the same two things, so I'm still going to share my opinion. On the phone pouches, also in agreement with Bryn, I really, actually, my friends might not like me for this, but I support them. I know personally, there's so many times that I get my homework done faster when I put my phone down. I understand content better when I put my phone down, and I know behavior-wise, I've seen so many admin and teachers have issues with phones that I know if we eliminated them at first, obviously there would be student frustration and pushback, but in the end, I think that it really would benefit us. So that's my opinion. Also, I did just want to congratulate all the board certified teachers. Miss Dietrich, she wasn't here tonight. I was in her classroom and she was going through the training and whatnot, and so she would like record us sometimes. There was consent and whatnot, but she would have to record us, and sometimes she would like take our work. And I just know from her perspective, it was exhausting, but also so rewarding. And I think all the teachers are deserving, because if any of them are anything like Miss Dietrich, they're like incredible. So congratulations.
Ms. O'Connor?
Okay, so can we hear it for our student advisors right here? I mean, can we get any better than that? And coming from the mouth of babes, they have said it. So I think we need to look at this for the high school, plug, but the Yonder pouch. So thank you for that. And Bryn over here, so humble. She was Snow White. I know we all know that, but she was Snow White in that. So yeah, it's just wonderful to be here and learn and see you and hear your presentations. And I'm, still learning about what's going on and how things work. So thank you all for being patient here, and yes, have a wonderful March.
Ms. Bridges?
I just want to say thank you, guys. Our future is in good hands. I really appreciate all you do in the community, and you're wonderful, so thank you. I would love to say congratulations to our Clay's team. They've made me proud, and I'm so proud of what they've done. And to be that high up in our first year, I think that's fabulous. And also our teachers. We have some of the most incredible teachers in this county, and they don't hear it every day, but I just want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, because it's a big job. Big job, and thank you so much.
Ms. Dodson?
The thing about going near the end is everybody's already said it. But so I do want to echo what everyone else has already said, but near and dear to my heart, Friday happens to be March 21st, which is the third month and the 21st day, and Down syndrome is caused by 3 copies of the 21st chromosome. We recognize World Down Syndrome Day because chromosomes look like socks if you look at a karyotype. So we want people to wear crazy socks on Friday in support and recognition of the Down syndrome community. It's pretty free to do, so we would strongly encourage you to participate and show your support for our small but mighty Down syndrome community here in our county.
Thank you so much, everybody. Another great night. Thank you for all of our awesome presentations. It was really wonderful to see so many people in this room. Thank you, everybody, for making room for everybody. I am so proud of our Clay Target team. They said they'd be back, and they were. We knew they were coming back. They are the champions we knew that they were going to be, so we are all very proud of them. I am incredibly proud of our super hardworking and dedicated teachers, staff, and coaches who we got an opportunity to recognize tonight. And I love seeing their supportive families here, giving them as much love as we do. It really takes a village, and I know teachers, your family is your village and you need them. So we thank them for supporting you so you can support the rest of us. I have had an opportunity, it's springtime, so all of the things are happening at schools. I had an opportunity to go to the ACE Mentor Awards for the first time ever. That was so cool. Their projects were amazing. I kind of want to I don't have the money, but I'd love to fund the St. Michael's project. It was awesome. And the other two projects, Easton and Saints Peter and Paul, were closer to the billions, so I'll never find that money in this lifetime. But they were also really very, very cool and interesting. If you get an opportunity, you should try and look them up because those kids definitely are our future. I had an opportunity to read at Chapel, talk about the kids who are our future. That was really fun. And I got to go to the talent show, which was an absolute blast. And, you know, hats off to National Honor Society and our Gabriella for putting that on. It was so well done. As somebody who does events, bravo to you. It was very well done. You have a future career in that. I know that's not where you're headed, but if you wanted to, you could be great at that. And next year, Easton will definitely take the win for sure. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. And I am going to let you know ahead of time, I will make a motion to close open session, and then we are going to reopen closed session because we had some business that we did not finish, and we wanted to get here for our public, as we spoke about Monday at our work session, if you happen to follow that as well. So don't think, well, yes, things are a little strange tonight. You can think that, that's fine. That's what's happening, just so you know. That said, I make a motion that we close open session and move back into closed.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much, board members, for your patience and cooperation as well. Good night, everybody.